infidels? Another week, another Brown. Good to see you. Good to see you back. If you're joining me from last week, thank you for joining me from previous weeks. I know last week's episode title, Sharia law is metal, was probably a little much for a lot of people. Do I apologize? No. Was it a lot? Absolutely. But it's good to see you. Good to see you this week. A lot of things happened since the last episode. We'll talk about it piece by piece. We'll start with Game 7, Heat versus Celtics, and I watched the whole game. It was bad, then it was good, then it was bad, then it was good. That's how I describe this game. There's been no this playoff. These NBA playoffs have been weird. I wouldn't describe them as like great playoffs, if I'm being honest. There hasn't been like a very like great series all the way through. I mean, even the Game 7s that we've gone to have been okay. I'd say this has been an okay playoffs. I mean, I'm very happy because the Warriors, have made it to the finals. But like as an outside observer, if I were to take a step back, I'd be like, this playoffs are kind of whatever. This is what I didn't understand about Game 7. At least the Heat-Celtic Game 7. Every time that the Heat got close, so like the Celtics would take this big lead and the Heat would claw back into it, right? Just tough defense and like taking it to the rim, getting foul shots, these turnaround jumpers. They clawed back in every time they would get close. Every time they would get close. Every time they would claw their way back in with twos, they would just start shooting threes for no reason. I mean, the infamous Jimmy Butler shot, as I'll call it now, obviously being a prime example of like, hey, man, you didn't need to do that. Just tie the game up. But also, at the start of the fourth quarter, Heat were down 3. They clawed their way back in with twos, like I said, and then all of a sudden, they just started chucking up threes for no reason. They lost the rhythm, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, Celtics are up by like 13. They just didn't. They did what they needed to do to get to a point where they could beat them, and then when it came time to take them over the top, they completely abandoned their game plan. You know what the Heat in the fourth quarter reminded me of? The Heat were Leroy Jenkins. That's who they were. Every time they're like, damn, we're so close. There's a 69.666 repeating, of course, chance of us winning this game. They'd be like, Leroy Jenkins. And then just start chucking up threes. They got lucky that one of them went in, that Max Strus miracle shot with under a minute left to bring it within 2. Sometimes, dudes, no one talks about this, but sometimes you can Leroy or Jenkins yourselves into a win, which he did right there. But, bro, they kept shooting threes at the worst time. I'm so mad. I would have much rather played the Heat than the Celtics. The Celtics scare the shit out of me, dude. That's a good fucking basketball team. They can defend at all positions. Their fucking center is a perimeter defender. And we were this close. If Jimmy just drives to the hoop, who knows? We were on the verge of an all-time Celtics collapse. And fucking Jimmy Butler bailed them the fuck out. Bailed them out. But I get what he was thinking. It was an open look. If he nailed that, the crowd would have gone crazy. That would have been one of the greatest NBA shots of all time. And this is Butler, someone who had the Kawhi shot happen to him. So he was like, man, maybe I'll get my own version of the Kawhi shot. And it didn't happen. And fuck that, dude. Now we have to play like goddamn Celtic. And I don't know how good we are compared to the East. Because the whole year everyone was talking about how good the East is. But is the East that much better than us, or I don't know. Warriors in 6, but still I'm scared. I'll say that. Warriors in 6, but I'm scared. The things that I liked seeing from that game was that the Celtics just lack of a killer instinct. That was huge. They got bailed out that game. It's not like they closed that game out. They didn't close out Game 6 either. That there is this weird thing. I think just watching Game 6 and Game 7, Tatum might be gassed. That is a very big possibility. That it just felt like it. It just felt like it. not taking any shot. I mean, game 6, he took one shot in the second half. This game, he really kind of disappeared from the second half. I wouldn't say Tatum's second half play won them that game. Smart had a great game, which made me mad because I was like, damn, this motherfucker's supposed to be injured. This guy's supposed to be injured. And then here we are. Here we are. We are just 2 days away. I guess tomorrow for you guys is game 1 of the NBA Finals. But just for me, it's 2 nights away. And this is probably, I don't know, I was nervous for 2019 and 2015 as well. This is probably, this is up there with the most nervous I've been for an NBA Finals. You know, every final we went to, except, well, I guess 2019 was different because, no, 2019 I was like, oh, we still might win even with KD injured. And then Clay got hurt, and I was like, well, no, I mean, no, you know what it was for us? Where I think Looney got hurt in like game 2, and I was like, oh, we're in trouble. When Looney got hurt, the Loon got. That's what it comes down to. It depends on, you know, how good Looney's going to be. If Looney's going to continue his dominance, I don't think the Warriors can lose because he's an offensive rebound machine, dude. Looney eats offensive rebounds like the Cookie Monster eats cookies. He's the best, dude. He's the best, dude. My favorite thing about Looney is the nicknames for him. Let me see if I can find them on my phone. Let's see. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's a good one. Hakeem Olajuwon. That's my favorite. Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal. That's what they call it. Shaquille O'Neal. That's a good one. And then my favorite, this is what I've always said, is what's a king to a god? What's a god to a loon? Dude, I mean, Looney's been, I mean, because I've always thought he was good as a Warriors fan, but I feel like for the rest of the NBA world, Looney's this year has been what I would like to describe as a revelation. Looney's hit a revelation status. You know what I mean? There's sort of like a, you know, 2015 Steph revolution. No. Oh my God, I forgot the name. Revolution. There we go. There's certain things that are revelation sort of things, like Steph's 50-pointer against the Knicks at the Garden in 2013. 2014, that was a revelation status. Like, oh my God, this is a revelation of this man. We have revealed him. I feel like this is Looney's a revelation year or playoffs, where people are like, who is this guy? This is what I fucking love Looney, dude. I love Looney, dude. My favorite part about Looney is that he runs like he's been dead for 3 years. That's the best part of Kevon Looney's game, is that he runs like he's been dead since 2019. It's like, oh man, that guy died before the pandemic, and he's out there just vacuuming in offensive rebounds. Just just eating them up, dude. It's insanity. It's insanity. He just like wants it more. I think it's because it's a psychological thing where players are like, well, this guy's dead, right? So, and he can't jump, so there's no way he's going to get these offensive rebounds. And this dude gets them. He has such good hands. It's like all his power from his all his skill that was supposed to go to his back went straight to his hands. He's so good. He's so good. I mean, he's probably the difference maker and kind of the reason why we are where we are. I mean, that and the sort of Jordan Poole. This is a revelation playoff for Jordan Poole. You might as well call this playoffs the Book of Revelations for the Warriors, because it's like, oh damn, Steph and Dre and Clay still got it, and look at these young guys. Moses Moody is getting minutes, the Moody minutes in the playoffs in that Western Conference Finals, impactful minutes. So we'll see. It's gonna be Looney versus Time Lord. Also, Time Lord, unbelievably great name. That's Robert Williams for the Celtics. If you didn't know, that's his nickname is Time Lord, dude. It is a bit unfair that, like, when the Celtics need him the most, the Time Lord will just do a fucking Doctor Strange circle and Iron Man will come out and help the Celtics for a while. No one talks about how that's kind of cheating, but, you know, it's the Celtics. They can get away with it. Yeah. So, I mean, it was just an interesting game to watch. It was just an interesting game to watch. I watched that with my dad. It was me and my dad, a bonding moment. My parents came to Austin this weekend, Memorial Day weekend. My parents came. I ended up having a lot of fun. I'm so glad they came, even though it was kind of a surprise. And a bit before that, the day before, like 1,200 Memorial Day flights got canceled, and I was like, I wouldn't be that mad if my parents' flight got canceled. That's how I felt. I was like, oh, they sent me a picture of the cousins. So good. Yeah. So I'm glad they came. And we had a good time. We went to, we did a lot of things. Went to the lake. It was hot. We went to the Texas Capitol. Dude, we went to the Texas Capitol building. That was actually pretty cool. That was actually really cool, right? You walk in and there's just a portrait of every single governor up in the rotunda. I think they call it, you know the Capitol buildings, they all look the same. I think that's called the sort of like dome top with this point. Well, in Texas, there's a portrait of all the governors. It's just like 100 white men. That's what I call it. It's like I told it to my sister at one point, and I called it Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men. That's what I called it. I was like, damn, it's so cool that we get to see a replica of Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men. That's my favorite Harry Potter one. That's my favorite Harry Potter one. Where everyone remembers Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men, where Harry goes to Hogwarts, and there's a little more black students at school, and then the white students are like, the Jews will not replace us. Remember Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men? You know, where they look at Dean Thomas and Lee Jordan, and they go, damn, dude, taking spots from the white guy. Look at this affirmative action over here. You know, Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men. Who could forget Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men, where they just banned abortion? Remember that? That was probably my favorite part of Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men. But yeah, dude, we were in there. It was cool. There was 2 women governors, like Anne Rice. That's the one I heard of. But there was this another woman. I had to look her up because it was interesting. I looked her up right before this because I was like, I'm going to read her Wikipedia. We're going to skim through Wikipedia together. Her name was Miriam A. Ferguson. So she served as governor from 1925 to 1927 and 1933 to 1935. So Miriam Ferguson was a Texas governor from in the 20s and 30s. And we're about to go through a Wikipedia right now, but if I had to guess, she was either the nicest woman or a total bitch, right? I feel like to be a woman governor of the United States in the 1920s, you had to be all the way a type of person. Do you feel what I'm saying? Like whatever her personality was, she was the most of it. There was no, you couldn't be a Kamala Harris type back then. I'm excluding being black. Of course, then definitely you couldn't have been a black female governor back then. But I'm talking about in terms of just quiet in the background, do nothing type person. That would not have flown in the 1920s for sure. So whatever Miriam's fucking personality was, it was definitely had to be the most, right? I just go through Wikipedia. It says nothing remarkable about her. Very neutral person. First female governor of Texas, one of the first 2 women to be a governor of any U.S. state, along with Nellie Taylor Ross, who was the 14th governor of Wyoming from 1925 to 1927. Damn, in the 20s, dude. These women she's the only female governor of Wyoming ever, and in the 20s, dude. This is Nellie. She was a staunch supporter of prohibition. Okay, well, she can go fuck herself. All right, back to Miriam A. Ferguson, the first female governor of Texas. She was a Democrat. Back when the Democrats were more conservative, I feel. I mean, if you go back to the episode, I don't know when it was, but where I go through the all the presidential elections, the Democrats were they owned the South. I mean, that's why John F. Kennedy won. He was and Lyndon B. Johnson, they owned the South. And so that makes sense. Her nickname was Ma, and her husband was known as Pa. Oh, dude, Ma and Pa, dude, that's some Southern shit that they love. That our governor's Ma and Pa. Her husband was the governor of Texas from 1915 to 1917, but during his second term, he was impeached. Interesting. Why was he impeached? Doesn't say. For actions that have been taken against the University of Texas. Oh, okay. He fucked with UT. So after her husband's impeachment, Ferguson ran in the primary and was openly supported by her husband, whom she would consult for advice. During her campaign, she made it clear she was a puppet candidate for her husband, saying voters would get 2 governors for the price of 1. A common campaign slogan was "Me for Ma," and I got a durned, D-U-R-N-E-D, a durned thing against Pa. Patricia Bernstein of the Houston Chronicle stated there was never a question in anyone's mind as to who was really running things when Ma was governor. Okay, I forgot about that. She was just a puppet. I totally forgot that was an absolute possibility. Totally, here I was being like, you know, look at this fucking girl power. She was the most of whatever. No, she was just a fucking mouthpiece for Pa. As much as I want to say I hate it, I kind of love it. That's not bad. Let's see. But because of the widespread corruption of her husband, a bunch of voters crossed party lines and vote for the Republican candidate. In fact, the Republican candidate was the most viable Republican candidate in Texas since Reconstruction. Damn. That means they were like, we'll just vote for the party that got rid of slavery. That's how corrupt you are. We would rather have no slavery. You understand how hard it is to shift someone's mind from slavery to no slavery? I mean, I don't know for sure, but bro, if I had slaves, I would probably fight tooth and nail to keep the slaves. So to be so corrupt that people are like, man, I don't even need slaves anymore. That's pretty wild. That's pretty high level of corruption. In 1920, they were so corrupt that people were like, man, maybe black people are people. That's how corrupt they were. That's wild. That's a level of corruption, bro. To make you think other races are people? Bro, how corrupt were you? That even in Harry Potter and the hall and the chamber of white men, they were like, man, maybe we should get some black men in this chamber of white men. That's an insane level of corruption to get over racism. Wild. Ferguson won 58-41. Okay. And female chief executive of Texas. She was the second female state governor of the United States. We talked about Nellie Taylor Ross. Nellie Taylor Ross wasn't elected. She just finished the unexpired term of her late husband, who was also governor. Okay. So, man, who was the first woman like elected on her own, standing on her own? And then wow, check this out. So in 1926, Ferguson ran against Attorney General Dan Moody, who defeated her. And the reason why she lost is because of suffragist activism. So women rallied behind Moody and campaigned against Miriam Ferguson and ousted her because women don't truly support women. That's the takeaway from this. But they don't, right? Like, we all know this. Because if they did, the WNBA would be the biggest league in the world. It's all that weird, backhanded compliment shit that's going on with women. Those, that passive-aggressive shit when they talk against each other. It just came out in the governor race of 1926 Texas. Damn, dude, women got the right to vote and immediately turned on their female governor. That's how bad she was. What did she do? Was Miriam like, I just like how you bitches will vote for anyone. Like, that's crazy that she lost like that. Yo, I'm so glad we're going through it. Okay, but she got a second term. She ran again in 1932, and she won 61-38%. Damn. Let's see. It was the same year FDR was elected president of the United States. Ferguson's second term was less controversial than her first. It was rumored that state highway contracts were only to companies that advertised in the Ferguson newspaper, the Ferguson Forum. Love that. Yo, hey, you gotta scratch the back of the people who scratch yours. It's politics, baby. I ain't mad. Get it done. Let's see. The Great Depression forced both federal and state governments to cut down on personnel. The number of commissioned officers in law enforcement agency was reduced to 45. Whoa. And then all the Rangers supported the person she was running against. So she discharged all the service Rangers. And then all service Rangers. And then the number was reduced to 32. The Texas Rangers during Ma's reign was only 32 men. As a result, Texas became a safe hideout for many Depression-era gangsters escaping the law, such as Bonnie and Clyde, Machine Gun Kelly. This is, of course, when he lost his rap battle to Eminem. He took refuge in Texas. Pretty Boy Floyd and Rainbow Hamilton. Whoa, dude, Texas has always been the Wild West, huh? That's wild, dude. That's Wild West, bro. Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men, dude. They forgot to add that. I forgot to mention the part where it was a safe haven for criminals. Not now where it's a safe haven for like white collar and bureaucratic criminals, but for real deal violent criminals. There is a criminal element in the Chamber of White Men. This is wild, dude. I had no idea. Let's see. That must have been like part of her downfall, right? The criminality levels in Texas were extremely high. Let's see. They created a new agency called the Texas Department of Safety. And Ferguson signed into law. And then established the University of Houston as a 4-year institution. That's interesting. The bust of Ferguson. Okay, so Fergusonism, as the Ferguson's brand of populism was called, remains a controversial subject in Texas. As a governor, she tackled some of the tougher issues. Though a teetotaler, she aligned herself with the Wets in a battle of abortion, which was interesting. So she was against prohibition, which, hey, Ferguson, good for you. She opposed the Ku Klux Klan, which is on the decline because of a national murder and sex scandal by its president, D.C. Stevenson. Are we going to look into that? Hell yeah. This is going to be just... This episode is going to be just a Wikipedia hole in a second. Ferguson had been described as a fiscal conservative, but also pushed for state sales tax and corporate income tax. Okay, so she wanted a corporate income tax, which is not bad. She was often credited with, quote, allegedly referring to bilingualism as Texas cool. If English was good enough for Jesus Christ, it ought to be good enough for the good children of Texas. What? What? Variations of the statement have been named back to 1881 and often used to ridicule the claimed backwardness of various unnamed Christians. Okay. So it's a made-up quote for sure someone has said that, like, unironically. To be like, well, Jesus spoke English, and it's like, if someone says that to you, if someone goes, oh, Jesus spoke English, there's nothing you can say. They're so far down their own asshole of stupidity that there's nothing you could say that could, like, get them out of it. Next thing, let them know that Jesus was Middle Eastern and watch their head explode to try to do mental gymnastics around that. Ferguson issued almost 4,000 pardons. Good God. That's a lot. That's for sure. In 1936, voters passed an amendment stripping the governor of the power to issue pardons. Yeah, because that's a lot. Okay. She was unsuccessful. She was replaced as governor by Pappy O'Daniel. I love that. W. Lee Pappy O'Daniel. Does not look at his picture. Look at Pappy O'Daniel. Does not look like a Pappy. A Pappy seems like he'd be like a fat guy who'd be like jolly, and that's not what he looks like. He looks like a demure goth, at least from his Wikipedia picture. They retired from political life after that, and she died of heart failure in 1961. So yeah. All right, let's see. Okay, hold on. Before we go on, the list of female state governors and uh, let's see, in America. So the first one, Nellie Ross of Wyoming. Are they all Democrats? No, because there's definitely some Republicans. I know, like, okay, let's see. So Nellie Ross in Wyoming, then Miriam Ferguson, then Lorleen Wallace in 1968. Is she George Wallace's wife? Yep. And she was basically after George Wallace couldn't run anymore, she just ran again. Okay. So there's that. Ella T. Grasso. She resigned due to her ovarian cancer. She was the governor of Connecticut. And okay, so Ella Grasso was the first governor who was not married to a previous governor. All right, so that's the first one, Ella Grasso. And then she resigned due to ovarian cancer, which, dude, the guys must have been like, look at this bitch. Yeah, see, clearly, she can't be governor. Her ovaries got in a bunch. That's 100% what I would have said if I lived in Connecticut at the time. Dixie Lee Ray of Washington. That's the next one. Then Vesta M. Roy of New Hampshire in 82. Martha Collins of Kentucky. Madeline Kunin of Vermont, 85 to 91. K.A. Orr, that's Nebraska. Rose Medfield of Arizona in 88. Joan Finney, Barbara Roberts, Ann Richards of Texas. That's the one I knew. She was a Democrat. Interesting. Let's see. Second female governor. She was frequently noted in the media for outspoken feminism and her one-liners. All right, I'm curious. We're going to look up Ann Richard one-liners. Sorry, these people just stick out because in the Chamber of White Men, they were the two women. So let's see. Ann Richard one-liners. Quotes and sayings. Hold on one second. Let's see. We're not going to have an America that we want until... we're not going to have the America that we want until elected leaders are going to tell the truth. Not most days, but every day. Lame. I get a lot of cracks about my hair, mostly from men who don't have any. That's a bar. Let's see. After all, Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did. She just did it backwards and in high heels. That's a bar. Let's see. Any more? Let me tell you, sisters, seeing the dried egg on a plate in the morning is a lot dirtier than anything I've had to deal with in politics. Hilarious. Let's see. If you think taking care of yourself is selfish, change your mind. If you don't, you're simply ducking your responsibilities. Damn, that's pretty good. It's always said in politics, your enemies can't hurt you, but your friends will kill you. Damn. Teaching was the hardest work I've ever done. It remains the hardest thing I've done to date. Bar. Cherish your friends and family as if your life depended on it, because it does. Bar. I've been tested by fire and the fire lost. Bar, dude. That's how you... This right here. This is what I'm talking about in terms of, like, to be... Okay, so the first female Texas governor got there because of her husband. But to be the first non-spouse governor of Texas, bro, she had to be that. She had to be the most of who she was. I have been tested by fire, and the fire lost. That should be, bro. That should be. Oh, yo, I want that. When I finally make it as a comedian, I want that tattooed on me. I've been tested by fire, and the fire fucking lost. Unreal. Such an amazing quote. But yeah. That was Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men. Oh yeah, one thing we did get to see is we got to see the when we went to the Texas Capitol, we got to see the state Senate house. They let us take a tour of that. That was open. And bro, this is how influential January 6th is now. Is I saw the state Senate house and I was like, oh bro, I could rush this. I could definitely storm this. This is stormable. Dude, like, bro, at the second I stepped in here, I was like, bro, I want to storm some shit, dude. That's how influential January 6th is. I'm like, well, I get it now. I didn't get it till I got to one. And then I was like, oh, bro, these fucking self-important people. Let's do it. I'm not going to do it. Please, if anyone's listening, to the FBI agent listening to my phone at all times, remember, I'm just kidding. This is just a joke, but that's kind of also how I felt. It is what it is. Okay. Couple more stuff. We'll get to the big news over the week that's been on our mind in a second. But the first thing, the thing I want to do that is, I've been getting these. Okay. I'm pretty sure I talk in my sleep, and the reason why I think that is I've been getting a lot of ads for apps that record you while you sleep. Which, hey, if anyone has downloaded one of those apps, can you like message me or something and tell me what it's like? Because why would you want that? There seems to be I can't see the positive as to why you want your phone to actively record you while it sleeps. Like, I know it's probably still doing that. That's why I'm getting these ads. But I need a little bit of that disconnect. I need to believe that it's not doing that. To actually do it is insane. What, I'm gonna get targeted ads for what I say in my sleep now? Is that what's gonna happen if I get this app? Oh, it's an ad to have sex with my 9th grade geometry teacher. That's a sleep targeted ad for sure. Like, what? Why? Can someone please tell me what is the positive to this? That's all I want to know. There doesn't seem to be a lot. But yeah, I just wanted, because I wonder if I brought it up before earlier. I keep forgetting, dude. But like, I want to talk about that for a second. Just be like, what is this about? I don't need this. This is not for me. Stop. Hey, phone, stop. I'm getting an ad for stop signs now. Jesus. All right. So we're here and we're queer and we're here to talk about what happened in Uvalde. Sorry, what a terrible segue. It happened on Wednesday. That's why I didn't talk about it. If you were listening to the episode, it's like, why are you not talking about it? It's because I didn't. I recorded the episode before it happened. Or did it happen on Wednesday or Tuesday? Regardless, it might have been one of those things where I recorded the episode and I looked on my phone and I was like, what the fuck? Another one? And yeah, dude. It's like, what are we going to do? I mean, I know one thing we can do, but we're not going to do it. So these shootings are just going to still happen. I think we've reached the point now where it's like, it's not about if one of these mass shooting events are going to affect you, but when. And not in terms of way like you're a part of one or you even witnessed one or just like, bro, like, my friend went through some shit. My friend was in the same movie theater as the Aurora shooting. He wasn't in the theater of the shooting, but he was there. That's one. Another friend was in Vegas when, the big Vegas, the Stagecoach shooting happened. That's another. I mean, we're to the point, right, where you are genuinely, it's not about if it affects you, it's when. And if you are like, no, it's not happening, we'll figure it out. It's like, bro, we're doing nothing to figure it out. And you got to be aware that this is a thing. If you haven't been affected or known someone personally, like a good friend or family member that's been affected, it's coming. Be mentally prepared for that. And just pray you're one of the people that knew a guy who knew a guy. And not one of the people that it happened to. Just pray. Because prayer works. If there's anything that the world has taught me since Columbine happened, is that prayer like really works. Like if you pray for something to stop happening, it'll totally stop happening. But you got to also think. You can't just pray. You got to think. You know? So no need for action. The prayer warriors have got this covered. The gun lobby sends it stuff. I do think the gun lobby actually likes it when one of these shootings happen. I really do, because like gun reform and gun control has been like an issue in American politics for as long as I can remember, right? And it's this talking point. It's always been this talking point. But when one of these tragic shootings happen, then the gun lobby can be like, stop making these tragedies political. And they rally their base. They get them all fired up. Like, look, because of this, they're coming for our guns. They get their base thinking like they're coming for their guns. And the base then hunkers down. Like, I think Greg Abbott's going to win again. And I think the gun lobby really benefits from these shootings and kind of wants them to keep happening because they can make money off them, A, selling the guns, and then B, the reaction, they get to bolster their base. And like now for sure, teachers are going to, like more and more teachers are going to get armed. And then once that inevitably does not work, because clearly that's not going to work, obviously, how is a teacher going to know which, like, what? No, it's not. It's just obviously not going to work. Once that stops working, they're going to advocate for arming the students. It's going to be like that. Like, that's just more money for them. So they absolutely love it when this happens. You cannot change. You cannot convince me of anything else. They absolutely love it. And they are powerful and they control a lot of our politicians. And so just you guys may got to make sure, you know, the Harry Potter and the if you read Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men, it's actually dedicated to the gun lobby and the NRA. I don't know if you knew that, but that's what if you open it up, it's like it's two. Yeah, in fact, I believe Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men. Who can forget that scene where Crabbe and Goyle get together and they hide pipe bombs at the cafeteria and they go on a wanding spree in the school's library. Who could forget that? Who could forget that in Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men? Such a sad day. And then people were like, there's no way this could happen again. And it just keeps on happening. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. So just fucking... I mean, it's on you guys for not... Really, if you haven't prayed hard enough... Because I prayed plenty hard for it to stop. So I know it's not my fault. But because it keeps happening, that means it's your guys' fault. Everyone but me is not praying hard enough for this to stop. And this podcast really is about me telling you to fucking get on it, dude. How come you ain't praying hard enough, dude? Fuck's wrong with you? The police waited 40 minutes. It's like, yo, what? How? Dude, I used to work a minimum wage job that I had to take mass shooting training at. And in no situation, in that job as an employee, they wouldn't have me wait around 40 minutes to decide to do something. It's either run out of there altogether, call the police who are supposed to do the thing, or pretty much sacrifice yourself so more people can get out. Those were the two options, really, that they had given us. So for the police with their body armor to wait 40 minutes, it's like, bro, that's some pussy shit, dude. I don't know how else to say it. It's like, bro, and none of them resign. Dude, imagine the whole world knowing you're a massive pussy and then not resigning. That in and of itself kind of takes balls. Right? Damn. Did anyone try telling the police that there was an unarmed black man in the classroom? That could have been like a strategy. My other theory is that the police heard it was just a bunch of Mexican children getting shot, and they were like, "Well, let's let this one play out." 40 minutes to do. They did nothing. An off-duty border patrol agent came in and cleaned up. an off-duty who was tired of the police doing nothing. And it's like, yo, the police's original statement too is they thought none of the kids were in danger. What? While there's 911 calls actively coming in from the classroom, they're like, these kids are fine. Yo, if your pussy's dry, just tell everyone your pussy's dry, dude. So crazy. So crazy. Here's some of the parents are thinking about doing an open casket. I mean, I hope they do, just because I think the world needs some Emmett Till shit, just to see how bad this is. But man, I 100% get if they don't, because if they do, that image will be seared across the web, and their child, their disfigured body of their child, will constantly be a history. It will be like the Emmett Till picture. They will constantly have to see that, and you can't expect any parent to go through that. So if any parent does show an open casket of what happened to their child, they are infinitely braver than the Uvalde Police Department. Infinitely. 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 Am I saying I will go in and take out the bad guy? No, I wouldn't. And that's why I wouldn't take a job as a policeman. Yo, if you take a job as a policeman in this country and you're like scared of a mass shooting, you don't want to be a policeman. You just want to cosplay as like some sort of military guy. That's how I feel. That's how America, dude. America is just like a bunch of cosplayers. That's how it feels like. Like, bro, you don't need an AR-15 for hunting. You need an AR-15. The reason why you have an AR-15 is because you want to cosplay as a badass. You want to cosplay as Rambo. That's how I feel. Everyone who has like a multiple AR-15 is like, oh, you think you're Rambo. But the difference is the Rambo in the first movie, his enemy was the local police. So unless you're trying to murder the local police, you ain't Rambo. You're just some guy who spends his money on guns to hopefully one day kill people. You ain't hunting. Also, if you're like hunting with an AR-15, you're a huge pussy. And also, it would make the meat unedible, right? If you like shot up a deer with an AR-15, it's not like you can use that meat unless you're able to burst fire headshots. I know you gotta shoot a deer in the head or neck because when I had to skin a deer, I learned that like body shots are terrible and ruins a lot of the meat. So, you know, but nothing will change because we are still living through Harry Potter and the Chamber of White Men. It's an unfinished book, and it's just, man, I don't know. It just feels everything sucks, dude. Everything sucks, and that's life, man. That's life. This has been a week. Hopefully next week it'll be better, but hey, things don't feel like they're getting better in this country, are they? Well, whatever. But thank you so much, guys, for listening this week. I appreciate it. I'll see you next week. Remember to check out Special Report and Daisy Reacts on my Instagram, guys. Remember to check those out. Other than that, peace in the Middle East. See you next week, Infidels.